Donoghue Prize has been running for many years now. It's a prize for single best poem entered in competition. You regularly get between 1,800 and 2,000 poems entered from all over the world. This year it's been won by a man for the second time after about 80 years. So, our gender balance is just appalling altogether. What amazes me is, even with entries from all over the world, from Britain, United States, Australia, how Irish poets tend to get on the shortlist as well. We've had a couple of Irish winners. The second prize winner this year is an Irish woman, Gemma Kelly, and it has quite an international reputation now. I noticed just the other day that the Oxford MA in creative, or MST as they call it, in creative writing course boasts of the fact that one of their former students is a winner of the Gregory Prize. And this year's winner is Robert Lipton, who hails from California, and he's actually poet laureate of the town of Richmond. He's won this year with a poem called Official Story, which has a very strong political slant, which I suppose in the current climate gave it an edge in this year's competition. The competition is judged anonymously. I never know who the authors of the poems are. I have to say that if you've entered a single poem competition and you haven't scored highly, I wouldn't despair too much, because the competition winning poem is a peculiar beast by itself. I know there are plenty of poets whose work I absolutely adore, who have never written the kind of poem that could win a competition because it's too quiet a poem. It's a marvellous, achieved poem full of personal integrity, and in the course of a full-length collection, that integrity and that artistic commitment and accomplishment asserts itself. But poem by poem can be difficult in a competition. The sort of poem that quite often comes to the top in a competition is like a small yacht carrying the armament of a battleship. It's bristling with all sorts of tricks and accomplishments, and it's the poem that needs to stand out from 2,000. It's not the poem that needs to stand out from 50 others in a book. So it's quite, people write wonderful poems that don't register in competition, so I just want to reassure people not to be disheartened if they don't score highly in a competition. So I'm going to ask Robert to read his winning poem for us, and he's also going to read for a duration of 15 minutes, so you'll have a chance to share some of his other poems as well. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. This is obviously an honor. It's great to be here for all sorts of reasons. The old comic line, it's great to be anywhere. So it's been a rough year, but this has been a really nice way to kind of say, I'm going forward. I'd like to thank, obviously, the Munster Literature Center, and the reason I applied, I don't often apply to individual poem contests, is because it's a literary arts center, and that's where I came from. I've helped develop those kinds of centers, and they're incredibly important for any particular literature development in any particular part of the world. And I'm so happy to be part of that. And I want to thank the city government or the Munster government for supporting this. Pat, it's been great. I mean, as was said last night, this festival is just, incredibly tightly run. And think about that with poets. So I really appreciate that. And I'd like to thank all the people who've been helping. Mary, Sally, Emily, Jasmine, the people out there selling books and just running around, keeping all of us properly ranked. So I guess I'm going to read. So when we transfer into metric units, 15 minutes is 2 hours. No. I'll read the poem, Official Story, first, and I'll read some other poems. I should say that my work is, it tries to undermine itself, whether I want it to or not. It's like this creature you're trying to hold, and it's always wiggling out. And I created this trope. I lived in Berlin for some time, and I still go back. And I'm Jewish, and I love Berlin because of that intense history. And I'd cycle through to the university where I was working to buy this big mausoleum cemetery complex in the forest every day. And all this, the history, I don't know if people have been in Berlin, it's redolent, it's present, and in a way that's incredibly intense. So this is maybe spurred some of what's going on here. Okay, official story. I tell the French minister as he backhands his mother that his lavish mustache is sub-gallant, perhaps more aphrodisiac than Etruscan. The French minister has attended to the dancing Wadnala sisters and the bric-a-brac spattered quay, tuna seiners and the frame-and-frame family of bottlenose porpoises. We have seen the French minister practice with the lion tamer and the preacher, talking in snakes and handling poisonous tongues. The French minister can play consequential scat piano, learned in the Kasbahs of Toledo. With amber-embedded elephant teeth, the French minister smiles at me. Surely this is a good omen. The French minister has read a book of disgusting limericks and will sing to me sweetly of denture cream. The French minister's caterers serve lovely canapes, and he strains credulity in the copper light. The French minister runs his fingers through a girl's hair. At the emergency room, the French minister needs to have stitches for the deep scratches from his unsolicited ministrations. Come with the French minister to the Bauhaus crematorium. Forest embedded, blue smoke and ruined eyes. The French minister will crack your lungs, dig the marrow from your bones, wear your face for Halloween. I will kiss the French minister to death. And, let's see, I have a lot of French minister poems. He's an unreliable narrator that never tells the right story. And it's an interesting mix for me. I have also worked on the form, the Pantoum form, and I try to use it to, in a sense, vitiate the power of some of the emotions you're trying to feel and try and collect it within a form. And this is one of the poems. I worked in the West Bank during some war situations, not as a combatant, non-combatant, and some of that has influenced some of what I've said, been producing. This is called Shahid, Martyr. His picture was pasted to the living room wall. The mother smiled with her daughter on the couch. Omar ate pita and chicken with za'atar. I stared at the 50 caliber machine gun holes. The mother smiled with her daughter on the couch. The Merkava tank gunned its engines, spewing smoke. I stared at the 50 caliber machine gun holes. Omar said his brother was too young to blow up. The Merkava tank gunned its engines, spewing smoke. A parakeet twittered by the kitchen door. Omar said his brother was too young to blow up. The mother was crying as her daughter sang. A parakeet twittered by the kitchen door. The soldier was coming up the stairs. The mother was crying as her daughter sang. He was young, about the same age. The soldier was coming up the stairs. A Tom and Jerry cartoon was going manic on TV. He was young, about the same age. We all watched the mouse smash the cat with a nailed club. His picture was pasted to the living room wall. Okay. Now, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying in this book, this is my first book, to kind of go between these strong images and of, these kind of violent situations and the more personal stuff, and in a kind of a weird admixture that either builds or negates them. Anyway, so this is this one is it's called Even. It Even Comes Out Her Ears. Normally stingy with her urine, she would release it heartily as she smoked one of Rick's joints. Coughing like a cancer patient sneaking a cigarette, her head seemed to close in on itself, squeezing the smoke and wheezes through his lips and nose. The yellow liquid wets the blue metal wheelchair, the concrete in the groomed courtyard staining. Laughter between the hacking fits. Mother is an abstract term, a belief as easy as falling asleep. As difficult as my mom, making the joint hiss in the liquid at her feet. Another thing I am is, I have a day job, I do science, and we have abstracts in our work, and somehow I got a poem in a journal that needed an abstract, and it got me thinking about abstracts. So my next manuscript sometimes it has abstracts, sometimes there's an abstract without a poem without an abstract. So that's something I'm working with too. And as you notice, I try to be very, patriotic about the US or something like that. And it kind of comes out wrong. All I can be, and then here's the abstract. There's usually four elements in abstract. So objective. The blood will come from the back of the teenager's head, not the small hole in her cheek like a beauty mark. Methods. She would be blown back against the wall, arms akimbo, palms up, head to one side, gray matter and bone and a god-sized halo around her. Results. We eat at my favorite Chicago-style pizza for dinner that night. Discussion. After seeing her and the rest of her family, my hunger was a category error, like getting a blowjob at a funeral or watching porn on a Teletubby stomach TV. The poem. Patriotism. My penis is bigger than the Goodyear blimp. It dangles at the end of myself. Large ionic columns support it. It frightens children and virgins, poets with smooth, scarless bodies, co-eds with teethy grins. They run like badly cooked eggs. I could fuck the Statue of Liberty, crush houses as I go limp, appear on radar when the mood hits. It was a back of a magazine thing, penis enlarger, army surplus originally used to recast the outer hull of submarines. When I come now, I put out forest fires, darken the sun, increase global temperatures. Shopping is the problem. But Army surplus provides the answer, missile silo 44 long. I can launch on warning, shoot planes out of the sky, take damage like an entire army of Attila the Hun penises. Can't jerk myself off anymore. Hire cheerleaders at St. Vincent's High School 100 strong band. Dressed red, white, and blue, tubas blaring in those hiked up skirts. I get the home team advantage as they parade me off. For some reason that doesn't go over well in the red parts of my state. Part of this is also informed, similar to Brian, by the idea that we have wars going on in the US, and this is not a political statement per se, but we live in a completely silent country in regard to those wars. Like 0.5% of our population is going to war. We never hear about it, and our taxes support it and all that. So, anyway. How much time I got?
I got the 2 points.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to flip back to This is one of the few poems that actually includes some of the work, the idea of some of the work I do. My day job is doing epidemiology and such. And so this is called Working the Numbers. 7 out of 10 of you think that gravity works pretty well except over the Caspian Sea. That most of us have 2 functioning arms, but that in emergencies we have access to an invisible third, packed away between the shoulder blades. 4 out of 1,000 of you think that you will be the one that Elvis really wanted to kiss, while all of you are 1 in a million. Another 7 out of 10 think Saddam was piloting the jet that went into the North Tower, and that my grandmother was the kindest person on earth. 1 out of 2 of my parents can talk in complete sentences and doesn't wear a diaper. Another 1 out of 2 of my parents would not have stopped the slash of his knife over Isaac's throat, no matter if 6 out of 10 gods of our fathers commanded him. 3 out of 32 million will know someone who has won a lottery using the money to help amputate invisible limbs. 2 out of 2 of my brothers have been reported as being shanghaied by Malaysian pirates. I'm told that they are doing well with 3% error, and according to the most recent statistics, a majority of people in the southern hemisphere will never warm to the idea that a fork and a spoon can ever be successfully combined. For my part, there's only scant evidence, see figure 3, with a probability of less than 1 chance in 10,000 that I will know when I've been kissed for the last time or told someone I love them with the fervor of the newly diagnosed. See table 2A. Okay, one more poem. I shall do, let's see. This is a poem about, I suppose, it's a poetry poem, but sometimes they work. And this is not just about that, obviously. It's called What the Poet Does. It's not that he wants to be like Bukowski, looking for his teeth near the bar's toilet, vomiting in the geraniums, but he likes his drink, not to assuage the fear of death or the simple anxiety of flying. He likes the taste, doesn't have a problem with waking up to a headache the size of a small Italian city, and isn't overly bothered by being too drunk to find his way home on certain warm nights when anyone would want to be out under the stars. That one of those times was last night is neither here nor there. It was a little difficult to get to sleep wedged between the empty aluminum beer barrels behind the ski lodge, but not different enough from lying awake in bed worrying about the placement of commas in the broken sestina about his wife's miscarriages. It's not the miscarriage, her third, that was the problem, but the poetry implicit in these events requiring such a difficult form. I understand this completely. The challenge is not the mourning or even the demands of some obscure piling on of lines or being soberly housed. In fact, he likes the taste and the stars, the roof of trees and the silence spread out around him like a hushed audience, readying him to begin. Thank you.